It's happening, guys. President Trump just dropped a bombshell plan that could wipe out taxes on tips, overtime pay, and even Social Security benefits. And guys, this is just the beginning. In fact, this is what, as President Trump calls, this is Liberation Day in America.
It's fantastic, attended by a lot of great women, All women are great. So this is the beginning of Liberation Day in America. We're going to take back just some of the money that has been taken from us by people sitting behind this desk or another desk that's not quite as nice, but they have their choice of 7, as you know.
Liberation Day. That has a good ring to it, doesn't it? Millions of Americans could finally breathe again. But here's a shocking twist. Trump may raise taxes on the ultra rich in order to get this done. The billionaire class, well, they're on edge. In fact, some Republicans are actually pushing back hard, but others are calling it, the most genius deal that Trump's ever made. And the secret weapon? Budget reconciliation, meaning no Democrat votes are needed to make this happen. Now, later in this video, guys, you're going to hear what this plan could mean for real hardworking Americans like a deli owner who says it could change everything. All right. Now, this is not just a tax cut. This could be the end of the IRS as we know it, but only if Trump can pull this thing off. Now, stick with me, guys, because what you're about to hear, this will change how you see your paycheck forever. Now, guys, if you appreciate the daily updates, please take a second and hit the like button for the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Now, this is not a drill. Trump just confirmed he's finally going after the one thing that Americans have begged for, an end to taxes as we know it. Yes, that's right, guys. He's actually doing it. In fact, the plan is real and it's unfolding right now in a way that could completely change your paycheck. It could change your tips, your retirement, our lives. Now, before I break all of this stuff down for you guys, I got to ask a quick question. Have you ever believed a politician when they promised to cut your taxes? Probably not, right? I mean, I never believed that anyway. But this time, something's a little bit different. Why? Well, that's because Trump isn't just talking. He's already making moves. And the steps that he's taking, they could be historic. So stick around, guys, because I'm about to explain how this plan could lead to zero income tax for everyday Americans. Meanwhile, the ultra wealthy finally get hit with the bill that they've been dodging for decades. And yes, there's already a major fight that's brewing behind closed doors in Washington, D.C. But this is where their plan, where it starts, eliminating taxes on tips, right? Now, this is just the beginning. So let's just cover the bases here. If you're a server, if you're a bartender, if you're a barista, listen up. And if you happen to be one, hit me up in the comments down below, whether you are one or you used to be one, and let me know where you used to work. Now, for decades, you've had a chunk of your income yanked away from you, right? I mean, you've had to give away your hard-earned tips back to Uncle Sam, even if it was cash, or at least you were supposed to. But under this plan, that money stays in your pocket, all right? And I want you to hear it straight from the man himself. Trump is saying that this is the beginning of Liberation Day here in America. This isn't just a tax cut. It's a declaration of economic independence for working class Americans. But next up, this is huge, guys. No more taxes on your overtime. Can I get an amen for that? I mean, if you're clocking extra hours and you're sacrificing time away from your family and you're hustling on the weekends, doing side hustles or whatever kind of gig work you might be doing on the weekends, you shouldn't be penalized for that, right? I mean, Trump's plan would let you keep all of that money, 100% of your overtime pay, tax-free. How many of you would be happy to be able to know that, hey, if you're driving for Uber or Lyft, or maybe you're doing some DoorDash, or maybe some Walmart deliveries, maybe Costco or Sam's Club deliveries, all that income from your side hustle gig work would be tax-free? Can I get an amen for that? I mean, you got my vote. I mean, anyway, so here's the kicker, guys. To get this passed, Trump's team may have to raise taxes on the ultra wealthy. Now, unless you're ultra wealthy, this sounds like good news, doesn't it? And so this is where things are getting a little bit spicy here, okay? Now stick with me, guys, because in just a little bit, I'm going to show you how Republicans they're splitting behind the scenes. Some are pissed off with Trump over going after billionaire donors. Meanwhile, others are calling it a brilliant strategy to win over the working class voters. So, so far, it sounds pretty good to me. I'll just say this.
Republicans are working to come together on Trump's one big, beautiful bill. So listen to what Senate Majority Leader John Thune had to say about it.
We also passed legislation to fund the government by a narrow margin. 10 Democrats voted to allow us to proceed to the bill and fund the government. The rest preferred to filibuster the bill and shut down the government. It was a double dose of Democrat hypocrisy. Democrats who had campaigned to abolish the filibuster enthusiastically embraced it now that it served their purposes. Democrats are changing their position so abruptly, it could give you whiplash.
Senator Roger Marshall is a Republican. He's from the great state of Kansas, and he joins me now. Mr. Senator, I want to go through a couple of things that may be in the big tax bill. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security benefits, no tax on overtime. Are we going to get any of that?
Well, I sure hope so, and that's certainly a priority of the president. It's certainly a personal goal of mine. I think the question is, how are we going to pay for that? And that's where the House and the Senate are kind of differing a little bit. I think the question is, what are we willing to cut from the federal government? How do we slow the increasing growth of the federal government? I think that's the big question. And I don't know if we're going to get that done in the first bill. And yes, the first bill is going to be a big, beautiful bill, but I still think we have to come back and get a second bite at the apple, and that's when we take on these opportunities. It's a crime shame that Americans who have paid into Social Security their whole lives, then when they take the money out, have to pay taxes on that. So I know the president would really like to get those extra Trump tax cuts done.
Urgent warning, guys. The job market is collapsing. The economy is shrinking fast. Layoffs are skyrocketing. The Trump tariffs are already shaking industries. The media won't tell you this, but most high-paying jobs, they're disappearing. And the ones that do remain, they're soon going to be out of reach. But here's the good news, guys. I've put together a list of 30 plus jobs that pay around $100,000 per year without a degree. These are recession-proof jobs, and some are even set to explode in demand thanks to this economic shakeup. No college degree required, no student debt, just real jobs that pay. But I promise, guys, this list is not going to be available forever. So get it right now. Get it before these jobs are flooded by the competition. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link down below so you can get your free list of the 30 plus jobs that pay over $100,000 without a college degree. So download this list before it's too late. And get this, guys, Trump's not stopping there. In fact, the next phase, no more taxes on Social Security benefits. Now, that's right, guys. Our seniors, our parents, our grandparents, our veterans finally get to keep the money that they've already earned. I mean, didn't we already get taxed on our paychecks, like for Social Security tax? So if they're taxing Social Security and SSI and SSDI, wouldn't that mean that would be double taxation? So anyway, let me not get too sidetracked. Imagine retiring and actually being able to live on what you're paid, right? Instead of sending part of it back to the IRS every single year. And again, this is part of something bigger here. The end game, total elimination of federal income tax. That's the dream. And believe it or not, it's on the table. Now, if Trump can deliver on his phased plan and get enough Republicans in Congress behind him, this could very well be the beginning of a radical new tax era right here in America. But don't get too comfortable yet, guys, because in the rest of this video, I'm going to break down why Democrats they're gearing up to fight this thing tooth and nail. We're going to talk about how Trump plans to actually use what's called budget reconciliation to sidestep the Democratic votes completely, and also why some GOP Republican insiders are terrified about what happens next if this backfires. Now, you don't want to miss what's coming up next, because if this thing goes through, we could be witnessing the beginning of the biggest shift in economic American policy in generations, guys. But stick with me, because what you're about to hear is going to blow you away. All right, now buckle up, guys, because this is where the plan gets really controversial. Now, we all know President Trump is pushing to end taxes on tips, overtime, and even Social Security. But the big question on everyone's mind is, how are we going to pay for this thing, right? Well, now we know. According to senior White House officials, Trump is seriously considering a move that it's already causing shockwaves in Washington, D.C. In fact, he's willing to raise taxes on the rich. You heard that right, guys. The president, who's been known for cutting taxes across the board, is now targeting the ultra wealthy with a potential increase. And so right now, the top tax rate for individuals earning over $693,000 or $731,000 for couples, married couples, is 37%. Now, under this new plan, that would jump to 39.6%. Now, that might not sound huge on paper, but in Washington, D.C., this is a political earthquake. And so coming up, guys, I'm going to explain how this move could be Trump's secret weapon to bypass Democratic resistance and also pass the most aggressive tax reform since Ronald Reagan. And also why some Republican donors are livid about this. They're pissed off at Trump.
Charge countries for doing business in our country and taking our jobs, taking our wealth, taking a lot of things that they've been taking over the years. They've taken so much out of our country, friend and foe. And frankly, friend has been oftentimes much worse than foe. And this is very modest. And what we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff. We start off with a 2.5% base, which is what we were at, and we go to 25%. And basically, as you know, and as you've been saying, not reporting as accurately as it should be reported because it's a massive story. Business is coming back to the United States so that they don't have to pay tariffs. And I think also because of November 5th, the election, they're very happy. AI is coming back to levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's a new, sort of a new business, I guess, when you think about it. But it's plants are going up all over the United States, and many of them have already been started.
So why would Trump, the master of the tax cut, even think about raising taxes? Well, for three reasons, guys. So first off, it offsets the massive cuts for everyday Americans. And if we're going to eliminate taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security, the government needs to be able to show how it's going to be able to balance the books. But the second thing is it helps Trump sidestep Democratic attacks, right? So by raising taxes on the rich, Trump can say, hey, see guys, I'm making the wealthy pay their fair share. And so that's the messaging behind, this is the messaging that completely blunts the left's main argument. And third, well, it could help get the 2017 tax cuts extended, which are set to expire in 2026. Now, if nothing happens, everybody's taxes will go up. So Trump's trying to basically strike a deal before that deadline runs out, okay? But don't think it's going to be easy. In fact, some Republicans are already furious about this. The idea of raising taxes, even if it's just 2.6% on the rich, it goes against everything that many of them have campaigned on. Others, well, they see it as a brilliant trade-off needed to make Trump's entire tax plan stick. But what do you guys think? Should Trump tax the rich and let the majority of Americans have their taxes eliminated or at least drastically reduced? Let me know what you think on that one. So, and now on top of that, we're learning that taking back includes taking from the billionaires who've profited. Meanwhile, everyday Americans watch their paychecks shrink. And so this is the kind of move that could shift the entire 2024 or I should say the entire 2025 and 2026 political landscape. And so Trump may be setting the stage for the return of working class power, for the decline of billionaire tax shelters, and the permanent end of taxes on your wages and your retirement benefits. Like, that is freaking huge. Now, this is only phase 2 of a much bigger story, guys. In the next part of this video, I'm going to reveal how Trump's team, they're using this backdoor strategy called budget reconciliation to bypass Democrats entirely. And I'm going to show you guys why this move, even though it sounds bold, could actually be the only way to stop everyday Americans' taxes from going up in 2026. So don't go anywhere, guys. This next part could explain the most important financial change of our lifetime. Now, time is running out. And what happens next? It could change your taxes forever. Now, right now, guys, Trump and the Republican Party, they're in a race against the clock to extend one of the biggest middle-class tax cuts in American history, the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Now, if they fail, taxes for every single American will automatically go up starting January 1st, 2026. But here's the twist, guys. They've come up with a secret weapon to try and stop this from happening. So instead of waiting for Democrats to agree, which they probably won't, Trump and his allies in Congress, they're trying to use something that's called budget reconciliation. Now, it's a special process that allows certain bills to pass with just 51 votes in the Senate. So that means no need for Democratic support. Does this sound familiar to you guys? Does anybody remember this one? This is the same process that the Democrats used to ram through their $1 trillion spending bills during the Biden's administration. Remember that last stimulus check, the third stimulus check that went through? The Democrats used the reconciliation process in order to make this thing happen for them. So now Trump seems to be flipping the script on this one. So later in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how this accounting trick works, what the Senate Parliamentarian is about to decide, and why this one rule could make or break Trump's entire tax plan, including those cuts on tax, those cuts on tips, Social Security, and overtime. So even with this reconciliation strategy in play, it's not a done deal. This is because the Senate Parliamentarian is essentially the rule book referee of the Senate. They still have to decide if the math behind this plan is even legal. And so right now, Republicans are using what some call magic math to justify extending the tax cuts without adding it to the deficit. Now, Democrats, they're already slamming this thing. They're calling it dishonest and it's a scam. That's what the Democrats are calling it, right? But if the parliamentarian signs off, then Trump's plan moves forward very fast without needing a single vote from the left. You see that, guys? And just like that, business could boom, jobs could return, millions of Americans could finally see relief in their paychecks instead of watching it disappear in federal taxes. And so why does this matter more than you think? Well, guys, this is not just about politics. This is your money. Now, if Trump can get these tax cuts extended while cutting taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security, I mean, we're talking about a complete reshaping of the American economy. And if he can't get the parliamentarian to approve the plan, or if reconciliation fails, well, everybody's taxes are going to go up in 2026. Every tax bracket, every worker, every retiree. That would be horrible if Trump can't make this happen. Does anybody want to see a smaller paycheck come in? I don't. And so that means all of this could go up in smoke, right? Now, in the next part of this video, I do want to show you guys exactly how much more you could be paying if the 2017 tax cuts are allowed to expire, and how President Trump's plan to raise taxes on the rich could be the bargaining chip that makes this entire thing work. Now, it is bold, it is risky, and it's all coming down to one decision in the Senate. Now, stick with me, guys, because what happens next will affect your wallets in 2025, 2026, and likely for years to come. Now, of course, there is a fight brewing, and it's not between Republicans and Democrats. In fact, it's actually inside of Trump's own, I don't want to say his cabinet, but inside of his own party. Now, you would think a plan to cut taxes for working class Americans would be a slam dunk, easy thing to do, right? But behind closed doors, some of the biggest names in the Republican Party are in full-blown panic mode. And this is, because to get tax relief for waiters, truck drivers, truckers, nurses, retirees, Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, DoorDash folks, gig workers, side hustlers, Trump may have to raise taxes on their biggest donors. So the 2%, the 2.6% that's split in the GOP right now, right? Like that's what we're looking at. The battle comes down to this. Trump's plan includes raising the top income tax rate from 37% to 39.6%. Now, this is just a modest 2.6% increase on the richest Americans. And you would think that's not a big deal, right? But to some Republicans, that's a line they refuse to cross. Why? Because those same billionaires and mega donors help fund their campaigns, their PACs, and in many cases, their political careers. They don't want to risk losing the money, even if it means you and your family get a break. Now, in just a minute, guys, I'm going to tell you which Republicans are quietly pushing back and why Trump might just steamroll them anyway to keep a massive campaign promise. But not everybody in the party is against it. Others say it's time. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of Republicans on board with this thing. It's a necessary trade in order to get the biggest tax cut package for working Americans in modern history. No taxes on tips, overtime, Social Security, and maybe even the federal income tax itself. They're thinking, well, let the rich pay a little bit more so the working class can finally breathe. Can I get an amen? I mean, does that sound fair to you guys? Let the rich pay a little bit more so the working class can breathe? Give the Democrats something, right? And they'll have a much... Well, guys, the great wealth transfer is in full effect. Our freedoms are being stolen, guys. Credit card companies are out to get us. And if you don't understand the game, well, you end up getting played by the game. Now, if you're anything like me, guys, you know, you were probably out of shape, maybe in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and just feeling like the system is just completely taking advantage of you. I remember for a long time, I could rarely ever get any time to spend with my wife. And through trial and error and through a lot of pain, I figured out how to gain freedom and also lose a lot of weight and actually get in shape. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, that was a game changer. To no longer be living paycheck to paycheck, figuring out how to get the credit cards to pay me, the power of a strong credit score. I pay thousands of dollars less per year for the same house as my neighbor just because my credit is better than his is. And this is not to brag. I mean, but this is the truth. The banks are literally taking advantage of the poor. It's like the people who can least afford it, they're charging the poor what is like unofficially called a poor tax or a tax on the poor. I mean, I'm now at a point where, you know, like, number one, I don't pay for credit cards. In fact, credit card companies pay me to use their cards. And I figured out how to build a lifestyle that is just ultimately very, very healthy. I lost a tremendous amount of weight and I put on a lot of muscle. But when I was struggling, I wish I knew people who knew these things. So anyway, I decided to create a community of like-minded people who are also interested, just like me, in living better. So if you guys want to join my community, it's called the Liberty Pursuit Network. It is brand new. Come on over. I'd love to have you guys and join like-minded people. Be positively motivated by others who are also on the same pursuit. So I'm going to leave a link for you guys so you can join me over on the Life Pursuit Network in the description down below this video. So check it out, guys, and let's not be a victim of this great wealth transfer that is taking place right now. Harder time attacking the rest of the plan. And so, you know, this argument goes deeper than just dollars. I mean, it's also a battle over strategy. Do we try and pass this thing with zero Democratic support using reconciliation, or do we aim for a bipartisan deal that might be slower but longer lasting? Now, historically, the most effective and sustainable bills are the ones where both parties come to the table. But Trump, he's not waiting. No, he's made it very clear. This is about giving power and money back to the people, not the politicians, not the donors, not the lobbyists. Right now, Republicans are fighting amongst themselves. Some are saying, don't touch the rich, don't raise anything, not even 2%, not even 2.6%. But others are saying, hey, this is our chance to make history. Let's get it done, even if it's not perfect. And Trump, well, Trump is watching very closely, because if the GOP can't get aligned, the entire tax plan could fail. It could fall apart. And so in the next part of this video, I'm going to tell you guys why the fight inside the GOP may actually be helping Trump, and also how one single decision by the Senate parliamentarian could override every voice in Congress and, maybe even every Democrat or Republican. So, we're on the edge of something massive here, guys, but only if they can stop fighting long enough to pass it. So stick with me, because this next piece might be the biggest plot twist yet. So let's go ahead and clear something up here, because there's a lot of noise out there. The media wants you to believe that Trump's tax plan is some kind of not a get rich quick scheme. They want you to think that Trump's tax plan is some kind of a giveaway to the rich. But what they're not telling you is that Trump may actually raise taxes on the top 1% to make this whole thing work. So here's how the numbers break down. Like, who's actually affected, right? Well, right now, the top federal tax rate is 37%. Okay. So if we think about this for a second, the top federal tax rate is 37%. And that only kicks in for people who make over $693,501 a year as an individual, or $731,201 as a married couple. Now, is anybody watching this show making more than that? Because if you're not, then you wouldn't be negatively affected by the raise in the top federal income tax increase, right? And so Trump's team is proposing to raise that rate to 39.6%, which takes us back to the pre-2018 levels before the original Tax Cuts and Jobs Act went into effect. And so now here's the thing. Only 1% of taxpayers are even in this tax bracket, but they already pay a disproportionate share of the nation's income taxes. So this slight increase, it's targeted. It doesn't touch the middle class. It doesn't hit small business owners. It's designed to protect your paycheck, not take it. Now, coming up, guys, I'm going to actually share with you guys exactly how this tax shift could unlock zero taxes on tips, overtime, and even Social Security benefits, and also why some billionaires are quietly panicking behind the scenes. Now, I want to give you a real life example, something that's stuck with me ever since I heard it. There was this deli worker, and they were asked what it would mean if tips were no longer taxed. And what he said was simple, but it was very powerful. He said, if my tips weren't taxed, I'd lower the prices in my shop. That way, customers save money. They feel more appreciated. And I would probably get tipped more anyway. Now, think about that for a second, guys. Lower prices, more tipping, more customers. That means more money flowing into the economy. It means more people visiting local businesses. It means families actually having a shot at keeping what they earn. Like, what? How does that sound to you guys, right? So take a little more from the top 1%, right? Take a little more from the top 1% so that the rest of America can finally breathe. And guess what? That deli worker, he's not the only one that's thinking this way. Business owners across the country, they're watching this plan unfold. Because if tips, overtime, and retirement benefits are no longer taxed, well, then everything changes. And so in this next part of the video, I do want to share with you guys how Trump plans to get all of this done without a single Democratic vote, and why a little known Senate official actually holds the power to make or break this whole thing. Now, trust me, guys, you're not going to want to miss this, because we're standing at the edge of one of the most aggressive tax revolutions in modern history. And so what happens next? Well, what happens next, it affects your job, it affects your family, it affects your future. So definitely keep watching, guys. All right, now let's just zoom out just for a second, because this tax plan, it's not just about the numbers, it's about people. If you cut taxes for working Americans, especially those in food service, hospitality, hourly jobs, you do more than just give them a raise, you unlock the economy. Now think about this. If a server gets to keep their full tips, if a factory worker keeps their overtime, if a retiree keeps their Social Security, that money's going back into local communities. They're not stashing that cash in some offshore account and then, and doing God knows what with it, right? They're spending the money. They're spending it at grocery stores. They're spending it at the gas station. They're spending it at their neighborhood diners and restaurants, right? That spending supports small businesses. And those businesses grow, hire more people, they pump even more energy back into the economy. And so here's the part that this is the part that has a lot of these economists just kind of watching extra closely. More spending means more jobs. More jobs means stronger families. Stronger families means a stronger America. But it only happens if Trump can get the votes. And so we now have confirmation from inside the White House. Officials are actively working on this plan. But here's the catch. Trump needs every Republican to back this thing. There's no room for division here. So even if a few GOP senators break ranks, this entire plan, it could collapse. And the dream of paying no taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security, gone. So the pressure's on and the clock is a ticking, right? And so, that's what this really is. This is a shot at economic freedom for the working class. But it's not just going to happen. It takes pressure, it takes momentum, and it takes people like you staying informed. So if you appreciate the video, the updates, drop a quick like. I really do appreciate, and if you believe that your tips should be yours, if you believe your overtime shouldn't be taxed, if you believe your retirement should be respected, then stay tuned because this is just the beginning. Like this video, share this video, drop a comment with how this would impact your family. Because if there's one thing Washington does pay attention to, it's the numbers. And together, we can make sure that they finally hear the working class loud and clear. So anyway, guys, this is Ron Yates, and I'll see you guys on the next one.